everybody remembers how beautiful the day was.
It is beautiful outside, perfect September day with lots of sunshine.
Former presidential candidate Elizabeth Dole is ready to hit the campaign trail.
Nice as it could be across the Northeast. Rough seas still from the chop from that hurricane, but other than that, it's kind of quiet around the country. We like quiet. It's quiet. It's too quiet.
At about 8:46 on that morning, I was in my office. I was on the phone, and the building shook. Boom!
This just in, you are looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers.
And the radio started going off that a plane had crashed into one of the towers downtown.
So I knew something fairly serious had occurred. And then the people that were sitting on the windows that looked at Tower 1 all got up and started running, screaming toward me.
I had been in the building on February 26, 1993, when the truck exploded. So when this happened, I knew, leave.
So me and my partner, we jumped in the truck, we raced down the Bell Parkway, and as we were going down there, you can see the smoke coming from the tower. It was a bad sight. It was a really bad sight.
I went up to the 78th floor and I saw the smoke was coming out of the elevators. Fire. And everybody was on the other side of the building. So I said, I'll go to the other side of the building. And that saved me.
It was the elevator lobby that I was kind of going down to. And all the firemen were there. About 30 or 40 firemen were there. And they were awaiting assignment from the chief. You know, where did the chief want them to go? In that sea of firefighters were several of my friends, including my best friend, Captain Terry Hatton. And so he saw me over the top of the other guys, and he yelled, "T, come here!" And he gave me the nod of his head, and I went over to him. And he had his Halligan bar in his hand, the pry bar. And he wrapped his big arms around me like this and squeezed me tight. And he put his mouth right up here on my cheek, and he said, "I love you, brother. I may never see you again." And I kind of laughed it off. But he knew what he was talking about. He was one of those guys that was always 8 steps ahead of everyone, 10 steps ahead. His mind just worked like that. And he understood that when he went in that stairwell, it would probably be one of the last acts of his life.
And we're going down, and I get down after about 30 flights, and I see the firemen coming up. And I hold on to the fireman. Save the people. Save my son. He's up there. But they're going up to save the people, and they're going to their death.
While I was also in the lobby, among that sea of firefighters, I saw Christopher Blackwell, firefighter in Rescue 3, who I worked with for 7 years, a very good friend of mine. And he said to me, "This isn't good." I said, "I know, Chris, be careful." Chris never came back.
It does not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my...
That looks like a second plane, so this looks like it is some sort of a concerted effort to attack the World Trade Center that is underway.
At 9:02, we hear boom again, and it's the other building.
Today we've had a national tragedy. 2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
It was in this time frame that we had the awareness of the Pentagon being the point of another attack.
We now have fire confirmed at the Pentagon. We want to hold our breath here, it just seems to me, for a second, and not get into a mode that the country is under attack.
And just taking a breather, and I'm looking up, and I see what I think the building is coming down.
This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the 2 towers. A huge explosion now raining debris on all of us.
Report to us exactly what is transpiring in the area of Lower Manhattan.
Everything is happening and your mind really can't process it. And we just stood there for a second, and then we just bolted. I think my body just took over, and we ran down West Street, and then the building came down. We had gotten knocked down and buried in kind of soot. I didn't know at the time what it was. It was hot. The dust was hot. As we were running, one of the guys fell, and we went to pick him up. We turned to pick him up. It was a big guy, and I remember swallowing everything and choking and couldn't breathe. And I just remember saying to myself, wow, this is how I'm going to die.
I feel lucky that I was able to say goodbye to at least a few of my friends. I lost 93 friends that day. 100 guys from firefighters from special operations were killed that day. So out of the 343 firefighters, 1/3 of them were the very best, the very bravest, the most experienced firefighters probably in the world. They were all killed.
343 firemen die on that day. More firemen die on that day than in the history of the New York City Fire Department. 37 Port Authority police die. And almost 3,000 people.
This was the pride and spirit of guys that had just lost a lot and were going to 3 or 4 funerals a day. True story. And when they weren't going to the funerals or memorial services, they were on the pile still trying to find if anyone was still alive there. Those are the greatest heroes I've ever met.
You know, people in Idaho or wherever, they're not affected by that anymore. It's just like we're not affected by the bombing of Oklahoma. You know, at the time, you know, everybody is, you know, rah, rah, rah. Then as time goes by, when you're not directly affected, you know, you kind of lose that momentum. You know, you just don't think about it, or you don't want to think about it. But when you live in this area, you think about it every day. Every day. I don't think there's been a day in 10 years that I haven't thought about it.
I want you all to know that America today is on bended knee. I can hear you.
There are different heroes in different situations. There are different people that deserve that label. But I don't know of a more fitting label or title for those guys that were running up the stairs than hero.
To me, what makes a hero is somebody that is scared and still does it, and still gets it done. He doesn't complain, he gets it done no matter what. He's scared, and he still can pull it together enough to get something done. Maura Smith, she was a female cop that died at the 13th precinct. Didn't know her. It's the first I ever heard of her. But I remember looking at photos of her, and every single time you saw a photo of her, she was helping somebody else out of the building. There had to be dozens of people that she helped out of the building, kept on going back in and getting somebody else going back in until finally, when the building came down, she ran out of time. And I'll never forget her, even though I'd never met her. And that's why I think Maura Smith was a hero.
For someone like Captain Terry Hatton to say to me, I love you, brother, I may never see you again, and then go up the stairs. Where do you find men like that?